Hi guys, welcome back to Dega Babe, and this week I'm talking about Rian Johnson, the new Star Wars trilogy, whoa, and an article with Mark Hamill in Irish Tatler Man. So, how you all doing? Hope you're all doing well and you're all having a great time and everything is going smooth for you guys. Well, as we all know, in the last 2 weeks it was announced that Rian Johnson is now contracted with Lucasfilm and Disney to direct a brand new Star Wars trilogy due out maybe around 2020, but we don't know just yet. And it has created this kind of crazy internet frenzy. Everybody's trying to guess what this is going to be about. And many people are hoping for a story from the Old Republic, which is a possibility, let's face it, it could be. And there's so much range there with the Old Republic. You can do so much because it's such a big universe. You got the Sith, you got the Jedi, you got everything going so strong. So we could do, or we could see anything happening there, which would be kind of awesome, I think. It would be really cool. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking that we may not. This could be looking ahead rather than back. And it's already been said, I think by Kathleen Kennedy, that this is going to be a completely brand new trilogy, brand new characters, brand new part of the universe. Everything will be new to us. And I think a lot of people were kind of a bit disappointed about that, because they're hoping that, you know, characters that they know and love throughout the universe that haven't been put into a movie yet. Like for me, I'd love to see Mara Jade, or I'd love to see Revan, but we haven't seen them yet in any movies, and it would be really cool to see them. But I don't think we're going to with this trilogy with Rian Johnson. So I'm kind of asking myself as well, is it a case that they approached him, or he came and pitched a story to them and they really loved it and decided to take him on? It's very strange to hear a director being announced for something like this, for an entire trilogy, when the one movie that they did make part of this franchise hasn't even been released yet. And of course that is The Last Jedi, which we're all waiting for in December. Not long, no. Who cares about Christmas? Let's just get to The Last Jedi. So I was kind of thinking, I was sitting back and thinking about that. I was thinking, how damn good is The Last Jedi if Lucasfilm and Disney have that much confidence in Rian Johnson to direct a brand new trilogy when they haven't seen 1 cent of profit yet from The Last Jedi. So it must be, I'm going to say it, a masterpiece. At least I hope it is. I really hope it is. And I hope we're not all disappointed. But I really doubt that we're going to be disappointed. I think we're going to love this movie. I think it's going to have a great deal of darkness to it. I think it's going to be controversial, because I think that Rian Johnson's going to take it where it's never been taken before. And I think that's going to be really awesome. So the fact that the studios already have that much confidence in them makes me think that Last Jedi is going to be absolutely mind-blowingly amazing, and it's probably going to break all sorts of box office history in its first 3 days of opening. So we've seen as well that apparently Ram Bergman, the producer that works actually with Rian Johnson quite a lot, he worked on Looper and he worked on Brick, is going to be doing these trilogies as well with him, which I think is really good. If a duo works, then, you know, keep them together and let them move forward together and see what they come up with. And I think also Rian Johnson kind of suits the whole Disney approach to making movies. He doesn't seem to have had any issues. Even with J.J. Abrams, there were a few little conflicts here and there, nothing big. And then of course we won't talk about the whole Han Solo fiasco, because that was absolutely crazy. And then of course with Gareth Edwards on Rogue One, there were also issues there where they had to go in and do reshoots. But with Rian, it seemed to all go really smoothly. So that could be another reason that they're bringing him in to do a new trilogy. And this of course explains why he's not doing episode 9. It's J.J. Abrams doing that, because obviously he was already signed up for this new trilogy, and he's going to be focusing and developing that, and developing stories and scripts and storyboards and I would love to be a fly on the wall when they're doing all of that. So I'm really excited to see what that new trilogy will be. Trilogy I'm really delighted, excited to see what that new trilogy will be about. And I'm really excited for all you guys, because my generation, so many of you guys who watch my channel who are of my generation, I'm in my 40s. And you kind of probably know where I'm going with it. I'm in my 40s. Star Wars A New Hope was 40 years old. But it didn't come to Ireland, you see, till about 5 years after it was released in, about 3-4 years after it was released in the US. Naturally, because the studios had no faith and they didn't think it was going to be as explosive as it was, so it didn't actually come to Ireland until 1980, and it came with The Empire Strikes Back. We were lucky kids, we got both movies together, it was awesome. So I'm delighted for you guys who are of a younger generation than me, because you kind of already knew about Star Wars, you kind of grew up with it, you kind of had it on DVD or on video, and then you might have seen it in the cinemas when they did the digital edition, the extended ones, and you probably went back and saw it then and were very excited. But you never had that feeling that we had as kids, where we knew nothing. We knew nothing about this movie that was coming out. We just knew it was called Star Wars, and that was it. And in all fairness, the trailer that George Lucas released was crap. It was a terrible trailer, and it just did not sell the movie. It made the movie look like it was going to be awful. And if I remember, Mark Hamill said in an interview that he and Carrie Fisher had crept into a theatre in Los Angeles because they heard that they were showing the trailer, and they went in and watched the trailer, and apparently somebody stood up and shouted out something to the equivalent that within a week it would be a TV movie, because the trailer was that bad. So when we went to see it, you can imagine the shock on our tiny little faces when we saw a lightsaber for the first time. When we saw the spaceships flying over our heads, it was like they came out over your head and you were looking out a window, not a screen, it was like you were looking out a window. And these huge Star Destroyer just came out over your head. And you'd never seen anything like it. There was never anything like it in your life. Princess Leia was a brand new character. You'd never seen anything like that before. The hair, the white dress, it didn't happen. And she was so spunky and crazy, and she was amazing. And then you had Han Solo, this kind of absolute scoundrel, and then, as far as I'm concerned, the Prince Charming in the story, the sweet guy, which was Luke Skywalker. And then you had these crazy little robots. We'd never seen anything like it in our lives, and I'm kind of hoping that when Rian Johnson does a new trilogy, he's going to be able to capture that again, and because it's completely new, that you guys, the younger generations, will get to feel what we felt the first time we saw Star Wars back in the late 70s and the early 80s. It was mind-blowing. So much so, here I am sitting here now with a Star Wars YouTube channel. It never left me, and I know so many people around me that it never left them either. We grew up with it. It was part of our lives every day, and it still is. Even as adults, it's still part of our lives. So I'm really excited that he's going to be doing this new trilogy, and I've also heard that there's going to be a live-action TV series. Good times to be a Star Wars fan. It really is. So I know nothing about that. I don't think any of us know anything about that, and I think that's going to be 2019. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me, I could be wrong. And that's coming out then, but we know nothing about that. We don't know, will they, I'd say they'll probably have guest directors. They'll have different directors do different episodes, just to keep it really fresh and new and interesting all the time, and it doesn't kind of get into a rut and get boring. I'm kind of hoping they might do that. And I was kind of hoping, I know Dave Filoni does mainly animation, but it would be kind of cool to see him come in maybe and direct an episode. Be interesting to see what he comes up with. So I'm really excited about that. Really, we're very lucky to be Star Wars fans at the moment, because there's just so much happening. So moving right along from Rian Johnson, our very own men's magazine. I hate saying men's magazine because it really bothers me that this interview is only in a men's magazine, and you know, there are plenty of women out there who are big Star Wars Hamill fans like myself who would love to see this. And I guess, yeah, you can go out and buy it anyway, but these magazines, of course, are tailored for men. So Mark Hamill gave an interview to an Irish journalist, Philip Byrne, and it was actually quite some time ago that the interview was done, but it came out in the winter edition of Irish Tatler Man. And here is the cover, people. Mark Hamill looking very nice. I have to say, I actually really liked the photograph. I thought it was gorgeous. And whoever, you know, put together this picture, sorry, I should have looked to see who the photographer is. How bad is that? Let's have a look, shall we? Michael Muller was the photographer. Cover it? Yeah, Michael Muller was the photographer. And I have to say, he really thought it through. The blue backdrop, the blue top, they really bring out Mark's eyes, don't they? I mean, Mark always had these kind of sapphire gem of blue eyes that you just sink into and disappear. And I do, especially. I absolutely love Mark. Everybody knows that about me. If you watch my channel, you know this. He's my absolute idol. I love him. And so this lovely article was written with Philip Byrne, and it was done just after the GQ Awards in the UK when Mark received Man of the Year, which I imagine that he probably cringed because he's such a humble kind of individual. I would say he felt very strange to be getting an award like that. And so it's a really nice article, and one thing I like about it is there's lovely photographs from The Last Jedi. No spoilers, there's nothing in there that's going to destroy it for you, I absolutely promise you. Because if there were, it wouldn't be on my channel, would it? No! So Return of the Jedi is actually the name of the article, which is, I suppose, very true, isn't it? It is Return of the Jedi. And then it features these pictures, which of course were featured in Empire when they did these special edition, where are they? These special edition covers for Empire magazine. So some of those pictures were featured in that. And yeah, they're always nice to see, and it's so awesome. I really like that Philip made sure that it was Skellig Michael. I don't think that is Skellig Michael. Actually, I think that might either be Malin Head or Cian Shabale, Ballyferreter in County Kerry, or it's Malin Head, but I have a feeling it's Cian Shabale. Because there is nothing like this on Skellig Michael with that kind of a view in the background. I know, because I've been there. Check out my video, actually. I've got a video on it if you want to see it. So yeah, the pictures are really nice, and then again, that is actually Skellig Michael on the bottom here. And a lot of people think that this, what looks like kind of a monument here of a person, they think that's a prop, but that actually is on Skellig Michael. I think it's it may very well be an old Celtic cross or something that's just gotten badly weathered over the years with the ocean battering into it. And then again, there's that beautiful photograph of Mark in his lovely blue. I might have to take that out and frame it. Yeah, slightly obsessed with Mark. But yeah, that's a really nice picture there of Mark, and I love, it was such a good idea to put the blue there. And then of course there's a teeny tiny picture down the bottom here, and you can't see it very well. I'm not too sure if Mr. Muller took that photograph, but maybe putting a light behind the guys may not have been the best plan, because it's kind of silhouetted them out slightly. But this is Philip. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to put it in because it'll probably go out of focus. If not, I'll pop it here, so somewhere, hopefully for you guys to see, is Philip Byrne, the journalist, along with Mark Hamill, which you lucky, I won't swear, Philip. I will not swear, Philip. But you are very, very lucky to get to meet Mark and actually have a chat with him, which is something I would really love to do. I met him briefly in London, but we were herded through like cattle. It was just like cattle, like cows, just being herded through a mart. And I literally went in and I had to talk to my teeth to talk to Mark, because, you know, they were taking a photograph, and it's the worst photograph of me I've ever seen. But Mark looks stunning and he looks awesome, but I look really S-H-I-T. Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to talk to him. I did briefly. I was able to tell him that I'd sent him a package to Pinewood Studios, which he got like a year later, which is great. And he did actually get it, because he sent me a really nice photograph that he had autographed with "Love Mark" on it, which I thought, oh my god, I love you. And it really picked me up on actually a really crappy day. I was very ill at the time, and it was a really cool picture to get. And I actually sent him Kyo's crisps, because potato. Okay, I know, they're so Irish. They've almost become a part of our tradition, our culture, but I thought, ugh. So they're not my favourite. So I sent him Kyo's, because I thought they were a little more upmarket. And, you know, I sent him shamrock ones, which I'm sure he did not eat. Because, as is mentioned in this article, he's on the diet of, you know, if it's nice food, he can't eat it. Which, of course, Philip does mention in the article that, you know, he was saying this when he was after doing the awards, after getting this award in London. And if he's saying that, then does that mean that possibly he's in episode 9? And I think he will be in episode 9. I really do. I don't think they're going to kill him off that quick. if they kill him off at all, it could be a case that he'll be like Yoda. He'll just go as an old man in episode 9. He'll just pass away. But I don't know that they will kill him off in episode 8. I really don't, The Last Jedi. I kind of hope not, because he's become probably the most iconic character from the start, the original trilogy. You know, everybody loves Leia, everybody loves Han, but Luke he was the star of it. The story really did kind of revolve around him. So it's really important, I think, that they keep him in there for as long as they possibly can, because the fans, I know me personally, will hate I will hate you, Rian Johnson, if you kill off my beloved Luke. I will hate you. Anyway, he does say this in the article about him still being on the diet, and Philip, of course, and even when I read it, even before I read Philip's part at the end, he kind of stopped in his tracks and said, well, does this mean that he's in episode 9? I did also think that maybe he is in episode 9, and I think deep down in my heart he will be. And I'm strong with the Force. So not. I wish I was. Yeah, a really nice article. Philip, you know, kind of to break the ice, gave him a packet of potato at the beginning of the interview, which of course I don't know that you need to break the ice with Mark Hamill, because to me he's an actor who's not up on a big pedestal. He doesn't put himself up on a throne over everybody else. He's actually very humble, and throughout the article you can see that, because he speaks very much so about when you go to the conventions and he sees people in costume and how it really moves him, and how he thought he'd never be remembered for anything, and here he is being remembered for this iconic role of Luke Skywalker. And then there was a really nice moment where Philip asked him, you know, people ask, which I'm hoping, Philip, you're being honest, that you actually said, people ask you, aren't you, doesn't it bother you being remembered only for one role? I'm hoping that you didn't actually say, Mark, does it bother you being remembered for only one role? Because if you did, dude, you are not a Hamill fan. You're probably a Luke fan, but you're not a Hamill fan. Because of course, all of us who are big Hamill fans, we know that he has become so iconic as the voice of the Joker. So I thought that was kind of funny. And I was hoping that you did say, Mark, people say, because if you did, you covered your posterior, your ass, really well. So you got away with that. So yeah, really lovely article, really enjoyed it. He talked a little bit about Carrie as she played Princess Leia, and he talked about how, you know, this concept of a female, a female iconic role where the female is very strong and feisty was not really new with Rey, that, you know, Carrie had done it back in the 70s, and it kind of was new with Carrie, because princesses up until then were kind of all these damsels in distress and, oh, I need saving, please help me. And then along came Carrie, who was going to basically kick the ass of everybody around her if they didn't get out of her way. That classic line, get this walkie carpet out of my way. I love that line. Love that line. And she's so feisty, and it's just not what they expect. They really thought that they were going to have to lift her up in their arms and scoop her out of the Death Star, and of course they didn't. She took the lead straight away, which was cool. And he did talk a little bit about that. He also talks about Trump, which I won't go into because I don't want to give that dude any time on my channel. So guys, sorry, the video ran out and I had to stop it and start again. So I was just about to talk to you about Mark talking in the article about going up to Skellig Michael. He had spoken about how since 1976, I think, when they were filming A New Hope, he was out in Tunisia, and he said it was the first time throughout filming that when he was standing on the salt flats in Tunisia out in the desert with R2-D2 and C-3PO and the land speeders, my little mini land speeder here, his little land speeder. He said it was the first time that he really felt like he was on a galaxy far, far away. That before that he really didn't feel it, and not after that. Believe it or not, he never felt it again after that. He explains in the article that when he went to Norway for Empire Strikes Back, there was nothing but snow, so it was no big, you know, it was no biggie. When he was doing Return of the Jedi, he was in the Redwood Forest, which he would have been very familiar with, having living in California. It would be too familiar for him. And so he really didn't feel like that again until he shot The Force Awakens, and he got to stand on the top of the beautiful, well, he stands about halfway up on the beautiful Skellig Michael, and he talks about how they went there at sunset, and yeah, so it really, really moved him, and he said it was the first time since 1970s, that he really did feel like he was in a galaxy far, far away. And I think that'll really impress all of us Irish people. I'm really happy that a beautiful UNESCO heritage site in Ireland has had that impact on my idol, Mark Hamill. Is so cool that he feels that way. And then he goes on in the article to talk about how he went out in the local pub after filming. And he doesn't say what the local pub is, but the local pub is, of course, the Moorings in Portmagee. And I'm sure many of you have visited the Moorings if you've come here. It's the pub that viral video came from, of Mark Hamill behind the bar pulling pints of Guinness. And they've really pulled that into a little niche there. You can actually go and you can pull a pint just like Mark Hamill. And I suggest you do, because it really is kind of fun to do it and to be part of the whole experience and to get to go to the bar where he was. And the locals there who work there will of course talk to you about The Force Awakens, and the owner of the Moorings is a lovely, really nice sound guy, and he'll really look after you, so you should go there. It's cool. But the thing I did laugh about in the article was at that moment when Mark is talking about being in the pub, he starts to explain to Philip about how you pull a pint of Guinness. And I kind of thought it was funny, because I was thinking you probably shouldn't tell an Irishman how to pull a pint of Guinness. I think it's like telling an American how to put a hot dog together, you know, it's kind of crazy. But I'm sure that Philip was an absolute gentleman and smiled, but in the back of his head he was probably having a little giggle about that, because I know I was as I was reading it. So like, it really is, it's a fun article, it's a really nice casual chat. I always get the impression that if Mark could, he'd sit there and talk to you all day, but unfortunately he's working on time frames where he's promoting things and he's going back and forth and back and forth, so he never really gets a chance to do that. So yeah, I definitely recommend going out and getting Irish Tatler Man to read this article. Whether you're a man or a lady like me, go out and get it. It's really, really good. And in all fairness, us women, if you love Star Wars and things like this, if you're not getting it in the likes of Empire, in a film magazine, if you're looking for articles about the actors of Star Wars, well, chances are you're probably going to have to go look for a male magazine. And I think we should support this. It is an Irish magazine, and you know, for many, many years in Ireland, we never got big interviews with big time people. You know, it was almost like, and even if they were on tour, if you got like rock stars and that on tour, they seemed to just skip us. You know, when Celtic Tiger came along and Ireland became very prosperous and very, very successful, then they kind of started stopping down. But Ireland really didn't have the money to attract people. And luckily, thank you to our wonderful president, Michael D. Higgins, who was patron of the arts back in the 90s. I was an actress actually at the time, I was acting, and he was fantastic because he attracted movie studios to come to Ireland from America and from all over the place to shoot movies, and a lot of what he created is still in place, and this is one of the reasons why they all still come here. And thanks to Michael D, our glorious supreme leader, but he's not like Snoke, people like Mark Hamill and Star Wars and Rian Johnson, Lucasfilm, Disney, all these people are coming here, not to mention things like Vikings and Penny Dreadful and Ripper Street, and we've got so much happening, and Game of Thrones, how could you forget those? So, you know, we need to support our Irish, we need to support our Irish businesses, and this is one. So I definitely recommend it. Ladies, guys, pop out, go to your local newsagent, your local bookstore, you're bound to get this on the shelves. And, you know, even if you're not into the reading of the article, but you like Mark Hamill, a pretty awesome, beautiful photograph. And you know, you get the photograph again on the inside without all that icky writing on it. Where is it? Where are you, Mark? Oh, I just saw the Justice League inside. Oh, I do like that. Where are we? Now, see, so, pretty cool picture. I actually think I'm going to scan that, print it off, and stick it in a wee frame or something with a packet of potato. So that's it, guys, from me this week. I'm kind of all over the place today. I'm a little bit kind of hyper and happy. It's not such a bad thing. Next week I'm bringing you a video about, of course, Star Wars, but also Asperger's and autism. Yeah, I know you're sitting there going, what? What the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? You'll have to tune in next week to see what I'm talking about, but I promise you it will be a good one. And it's a very personal one for me as well, so I really feel that I want you guys to come and watch the video and hopefully take a great message away from it with you. I hope so. Anyway, so that's it for me, guys, for this week. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little red and white button down below the box here. Give it a little click. Give it a little click. And come with me and join the force, and we can rule the galaxy together. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as well. I'm on them a lot lately. It's kind of crazy trying to keep up with it all. I do my best though. And that's it for me, guys. Have an amazing week, and may the force be with you. Bye.